Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where we discover the communities that are making a difference in the lives of others. Our self-discovery is something we are all making on our life's journey. Here you will find the people that will be your guidance, that will be your inspiration, that will be there for you in support on your journey of life. Do enjoy. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of An Author's Kiss right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my guest today is Jenny Story. She's been here before with her mum, where they discussed the book that was written about Jenny's autism. You wouldn't believe that she has autism on any spectrum whatsoever because she's so incredibly talented. Her new book, which is his second book in a trilogy, Dysnomia, am I pronouncing that right?
Dysnomia, pretty close.
Dysnomia, right, there we go. And that's the second book, which apparently is very thick and full of action, so I don't know how she does it. She's also a self-advocate for autism and shines her light on other autistics that go after their dream and lets everyone, all those people that say they can't do it. She won the 2020 Self-Advocate Award, the Autism BC Awards, and the money that she won, she gave to a single mum with two autistic boys and gave to Spectrum Productions, who work with autistic individuals. So she's a philanthropist as well. She has a documentary filmed about her through Telesoptic about the positivity of autism and how people can see it from a different point of view. And we're going to really discuss her new book, her process, and her passion, and the fact that she's a graphic artist as well, right? I mean, are there things you can't do, madam?
Hi. Hi. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Well done. Second book with yet another book to come.
Yeah. I'm in the works on the third one now.
Bravo. A lot of dedication that goes into that and a lot of discipline, right?
Oh, yes, definitely, for sure. Yes.
Where do you get your ideas from? Is it characters that are formed in your mind that just come out onto the paper, or did you have to go looking for them?
That's a very good question, because so far we're featuring my stories have been a different experience. So like with my first book, I actually got it based off this weird dream I had. I was studying for my social studies in grade 9, and just to keep myself awake and focused, I just decided to turn on my TV. But as I'm looking at my TV, there's these weird scenes that come from the book, with the main character and some Jeep racing and other stuff that goes on there. But then my mom calls me for dinner, and when I look back at the TV, it's off, and it was off the whole time. And yeah, the idea just never went away, so I decided to write a book about that. And yeah, I had the beginning, the middle, and ending, and how to make it all to come together. And yeah, that's how the first one came. With the second one, that was just, based off the characters and okay, what's their story? What's happened after the first book and all that. And I've had my beginning with the second one. I had the beginning and the ending, but I was struggling with the middle and how to make it all come together, because I technically wasn't planning to make this into a trilogy at first. So
it evolved.
Yeah, it evolved. And so I found a way, because it's published out now, and now I'm working on the third book and just going through the same process. I've got the beginning and ending, and I've slowly got the middle, and now I'm just trying to make it all come together.
Yeah. This is the thing about authoring, isn't it? Is that you can have a story in your head, you can have certain characters, you kind of always need to know the ending and work yourself backwards. But the characters also take a life of their own on, don't they? As you put them in situations, now it's like, well, what would they do? And you're no longer thinking it, you're following them, aren't you?
Yeah, it's like it's being in their heads and what they're like, and just basically what they see and think. It's cool.
Yeah, it's rather exciting, because it's not just an extension of you. It is kind of another part of you, another dimension of you that's in there, right? So it's on your own self-discovery there. What is the book actually about? I know it's fantasy and fiction, but what is it? What is the main storyline?
Okay, so the first book is about this young woman named Layla who becomes the first female of her hometown to be the royal commander. And there's this bad guy named Nylam who's attacking the town, but nobody really knows why. So when her and her friends try to go stop him, he traps them in a bottle and drives them off a cliff. And so you think they've died, but they actually get stuck in this secret underground world.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's where the adventure starts. And then the second one is a continuation of that story and
So we
going on.
discover another world, which is always
Yeah.
lovely. I mean, I love anything that takes us into different dimensions or different worlds. It's not necessarily escapism. I think that very often when you look at a different world, um, it helps you reflect back on the world that you're living in a different light.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I can definitely see that. Yeah.
I think I've learned more from mystical and fantasy than I have from documentary, because it does allow you to kind of wander yourself or become a certain character. And, oh, could I do that? Oh, she did that. Could I do that? And I think that when we immerse ourselves into those worlds and we take that journey, it really opens up a whole spectrum of wonderment, doesn't it?
Yeah, sure, sure. I definitely agree. Yeah.
What's your favorite character in the book?
In my book, oh
Mhm.
man, let's see. I do like Layla a lot because she's strong and independent, but she's not afraid to ask for help when she needs it.
Right?
She does what she needs to do. She's determined. When she's passionate about something, she goes for it. She doesn't let anybody tell her she can or can't, and she just follows her heart and tries to do the right thing and is very caring. And yeah, and There Forevers. I also like another character that I also like, and he's quite popular too. Is this cookie creature called Sparkles, and they're called cookies because they love to eat cookies. And he's got a personal attachment to my heart because actually, if you don't mind, I'll get a picture to show
Yes,
you.
yes, yes. Oh no, I love it when we get to see the graphics of the people that are in the book as well.
Sparkles was actually based on my real life dog Sparkles right here.
Ah, oh, I love those ears. Oh,
Oh, thank you.
for those that are only listening, Sparkles is a beautiful dog, very, very regal, with gorgeous ears. They look like they could take off any moment now. So, are the creatures in your underworld animals, or are they people, or what are they?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, it's many things. There's some normal animals. They're like cows and horses and all, but a lot of them are they're all magical. There's like the Sparkles, who's a cookie, and they're kind of like alien kind of creatures. But there's also like fantasy creatures. Like there's a weretar, which is part werewolf and part centaur. Do you know
Ooh,
what a
yeah,
centaur?
yeah, they backside of a horse and front side of a man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, ooh, that would be interesting.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's creatures like that, and yeah, just all sorts of different magical creatures you couldn't think of. There's a Bako, which is a part bat cat there, and I've got a Slonky, which is kind of like this monkey sloth thing. It's got long arms and long claws to crawl around, very energetic for being related to the sloth. And Nerva, which is like an alien kind of bug-like cow, and yeah, just many creatures.
Now, how did those come into your mind? Where do you discover those in your head?
I kind of like to draw them out. I just think of creatures in my mind and I just draw them. Like I'll sometimes think of like maybe a cow or what would this creature look like if I gave it antennas and yeah, just basically drawing and thinking it out.
So you do the drawing, and that's when the character comes alive from you. So
Yeah,
that's your process there. And it, I
yeah.
mean, I know that you can draw too, which is exceptional.
Thank
Um,
you.
as I said, the fantasy is something I love because I always see reality from a different point of view. But I also love the fact that we do look at other creatures, they do take on a persona, we do get attached to them. And I think it opens up our world because we're so linear as human beings. Everything's straight line, everything's got to be black and white, everything's got to
Yeah.
be, and we're boring. So, when we choose to kind of let the imagination go and believe that there are different forms of creatures in our universe,
Mm.
in our world, I think it makes us better people.
Yeah, for sure, because we can be imagining happy and think of like good things that we can do. It's like a world of possibilities. We can do
Yes,
whatever we want.
exactly.
Yeah.
And but that's what the beauty of the art of the writing is. My brother is an author as well, and he's
Oh,
quite
nice.
disciplined. He writes a lot of fantasy and youth genre. Um,
Nice.
it's not so much about the creatures, but it's always more like the supernatural,
Ah,
things that happen and melding of different dimensions and different worlds. And every time I read them, I love the world that I go into. Oh,
yeah.
what's this world like? Is it something from that world I can bring back? Or can I
Yeah.
just escape to that world when this
Yeah.
world gets too much? And
Yeah.
I think that's the reason why we like that type of thing, isn't it? Because it opens our mind up, but it's also a safe place to go.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, like as you said, it's a nice place where we can escape or just think and let loose. And yeah, it just takes us to a different point of view and just have fun in it. And yeah.
What age group are you writing for?
Um, okay, I guess technically target wise, the book is an adult, so like ages 12 to 13, 14. However, I've had people from ages 6 to 60 and read it and enjoy them themselves. It's kind of almost like Harry Potter that way, where they
Yes,
also target young adults, but lots of people of different age groups read Harry Potter, enjoy it.
I was obsessed with Harry Potter. My kids were calling me a nerd. Get your own
Oh,
dinner. I'm reading Harry Potter. So I loved
that's
it.
fun.
And I loved, the world of Harry Potter and all the creatures, but also the dark side that was there. And it's nice
Yeah,
to go to a world that's kind of maybe got a light side, but there's an always undercurrent. And that comes in the choice, doesn't it? With the
yeah,
villain is always making us choose which side are we going to go. And
yeah.
so it's a good reflection on our own lives.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I agree.
Do you like writing villains?
I do. There's like a few villains in this one. Yeah, I enjoy it because without how can the hero grow if the villain doesn't help them? And how do I explain in a way grow? Because sometimes the villains put them in situations where they have to think. It's like, can the hero stick through moves and follow through with it, or does that guy kind of like get in their heads and make them see things
Yeah.
at different? So yeah, they make the character think about who they are in a sense if you do the villains right. So
Yes, yes. And a lot of villains we kind of grow to love. We love the bad guy, and a good villain is one that we know they're bad, but we like them anyway because there's just something about them. And then there's the villains that we just absolutely loathe because
yeah.
they're just too evil. Now, I don't
Yeah.
imagine you have anybody too evil in your book.
For the first one, they're pretty like you know who the bad guys are, but with the second one, there is kind of a complex twist. Well, yeah, there is a one character that's pretty complex in there when it comes to villainy. He's definitely an interesting one without spoiling too much.
So really somebody who's a dark reflection. I mean, Harry Potter books has
Yeah,
a really big dark side there that was very interesting. And I think the reason why they appealed across the ages is that no matter where you're at in life, it's going to address your knowledge now. And as you said, from 6 to 60, reading the books. Who says that because you grow up, you can't read these books that take you off into different worlds? I think
yeah,
we read them with a different understanding and
yeah,
and get obviously a different journey out of it. I encourage people of older age to read all these wonderful books because they really do. They take you away from this world and they kind of remind you how wondrous and adventurous life can really be and
yeah.
help us step into life again, where sometimes people get caught up in life and forget to live.
So true. I couldn't have said that better myself.
So I know that the second book is one that you really got carried away with, and I think your mum was saying 800 pages. So,
Yeah, it's exactly at 800 pages.
so that is, was it just like because you had time with the COVID, or was it because it just poured out of you and you could just see it, continuing on?
Yeah, it's just the second one. It's just kind of well, for the beginning and ending. It just had the middle and just yeah, just a ton of stuff came in and I kept adding and pouring. I got definitely with the chapters are definitely longer for sure. Like with the first one, they were usually like 3 to 5 pages, with maybe one being like 10. Most of them now are like 10 to maybe almost hitting 20 now. So just kind of in a way sense proving my writing and
Mm.
explaining things more a bit too was maybe what also made the book bit bigger as well. So this is like a whole interesting learning process for me now and what I need to do with the third book. So yeah, it's definitely been an interesting process, this
Mm.
whole thing.
Now, I know that you're an animator as well, a 2D and 3D animator, and I know that you would love to make actually, a script or even a film out of this. Would you like to be done in animation?
Oh yes, I definitely would. I would especially love to see it in 2D because we haven't seen a lot of 2D animated movies in a while. I am actually writing the script for it. There's a few more chapters that I need to do, and then I need to revision it. And yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, I can make it into animated movies soon or
Yes.
someday. Yeah.
Let's hit on your autism now, because autism is something that's extremely misunderstood. And I've had you and your mum on, and your mum on, and with another mum of an autistic child. So they've shared, the ups and the downs of it, the sides of it. But when we look at a great deal of our gifted people out there, they're generally on the autism spectrum, aren't they?
Yeah, because we're talking about it more and making it more aware. You're seeing a lot of these people that, oh, this person you wouldn't think, but
Yes.
it just shows, hey, there's no stereotype where this person has to act like this to be autistic. Or it's just there's just different types of people out there that we're slowly starting to show, which is nice.
Do you find that with your autism that it may help you channel better than
Yeah.
than a kind of a regular person who can get diverted very, very easy? Do you find that that focus and that channeling of what you want to do is probably a little more refined than the norm?
I would think so in a sense, because a funny story with my focusing, I didn't realize with me like when I'm focused on something, I'm super focused because example with this funny story, I do some background works from time to time too, and I was on background for this one show, and it was lunchtime, and because the lineups can be very long, I was focused on getting to the lineups, and because I was like, okay, this is where I need to go for my destination, I didn't realize someone was calling me from behind saying, "Yeah, Jenny, we have a seat for you." Because I was so like I focused to get to the destination I needed to be. That that I did. I accidentally didn't hear anybody behind me. But yeah, I would say focused. Schedule. I stick with schedules. I would
Hmm.
say good, and my creativity side too, because I can see things from a different point
Right.
of view and or get into character's head instead of trying to like say figure out how do I explain? Instead of like, because some people they try to figure out what the character is and who they are. It's more like the character, in a sense, kind of telling me who
Yeah.
they are and showing me what they're like. And yeah, if that makes sense. I don't know if I explained
Oh
that
no,
well.
completely. Yeah, you allow
Okay.
your characters to become rather than dictating what they should be. Right,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
what I have found with autistic people is that ability to open up your creativity, to open up that channeling of being able to see things from a different perspective. That I think that very often people without any form of what people like to call challenge, but I kind of look upon it as a gift in many ways,
Yeah.
um, is the fact that if you look at an autistic person and tap in to their channel, you're in their world of such incredible gifted wonderment and point of view. But we demand autistic people come into our world and speak our way, and we're the ones that are losing out,
Yeah.
right? Because you can't fit in our world. And let's face it, our world can be rather dysfunctional,
Mhm.
right? But if
Mhm.
we came into your world and saw things through your eyes and truly heard you, it would open up a different world to us that would benefit quite considerably.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree.
The autism. You said that there was a documentary made for you on your autism by Tellus.
Yeah, it was actually for another autistic person named Brody who does TED Talks and talks about autism. And yeah, they heard about me and they're from Kamloops and they heard about me and they got a hold of me and my mom and asked if we wanted to be a part of the documentary and talk about my journey and our story and what we want to do with autism, and we agreed.
Mm,
Yeah,
nice. And that's the thing, is about the education, isn't it? Um,
yeah.
I know, my kids are, I've just had my first grandchild. So, and my kids are in their 30s and they've got friends where, a couple of their kids are on the autism spectrum. And immediately people go, ah, poor things. And again,
Yeah.
it is, instead of looking at poor things, it's again, don't expect them to function in your world, go into theirs. And when you do, it broadens your spectrum so much more.
Yeah.
So it's not, one of my wonderful guests said, it's not disabled, it's differently abled.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah,
saying. I like it. Yeah,
I
cause
do too.
it is sad. Like the moment, like you say, autism, where it's brought up, it's people still kind of have that. Oh, that's so sad, poor thing. You can't do anything, but that's not true. We can do things. We just need people to be open and try to see things from our point of view. And yeah, if we just work together and like how to find ways to connect and build together instead of like being all like, no, you have to be this way, otherwise you can't work. It'd just be a better place if we can find ways to work together.
Exactly. And also to respect each other's way of working. I
Yeah.
mean, you have a particular structure and that's how you function in it. If you think about it, we all work well in our own structure. And
Mm-hmm.
half the time where people, are getting lost is because they don't know what their structure is.
Yeah.
They haven't set that, that building foundation. They're seeing the big house finished and everybody in it, but they're not realizing the foundation and the structure and everything else that needs to be there. We all need that in our lives to maximize our production. But if we look at your system that serves you, maybe it's one that might serve us as well, right?
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
different type of focus. Um, Again, we're seeing, so many young people today, um, performers, prodigies of the guitar or the piano or singing. And we're looking at them and go, my God, did you swallow a human, an adult, because, and then they're so together, like, and it is absolutely amazing. But I don't know if you watched, excuse me, America's Got Talent last year. Or was it?
Oh, if I'm Cody,
Yes,
I think. Yeah, he
yes.
was so good, and it's awesome that he won.
Yes, and what that in a few years ago just would never have happened, but we're opening up more and more. And yes, when it comes to his daily interaction, it's on a different level. When he was at that piano and he started singing, and in a different world altogether, and he invited us into his world, right?
Yeah,
So I think we have to be more
yeah, he was like a
accepting of each
whole.
other. Mm. Were you happy to see that?
Yeah. Yeah, it was so cool to see that he won and like expressing himself and like yay, way to show autism and
Yes,
that.
yes.
So that yeah, it was super
Just
cool.
those, and what a brilliant, poster child for, for autism, just for people to see it in a different light. Sometimes I think people get mixed up between kind of OCD, compulsive disorder, and on autism, right? Because you
Yeah.
do like things to be kind of structured, and people with OCD have particular ways of doing things. Do you think there is a big difference between the two?
I think maybe a little bit because OCD is where you're like have to things certain things clean and you have to Uh, and with autism, yeah, we like doing our things repeatedly, constantly to make ourselves kind of feel good, but we don't always, it's not all the time. For certain people, yes, it might feel like that because they need to have certain things at a certain time to make them feel better, or also freak out. But I don't find myself, I've at least gotten better where I don't need to always have things routine and all that. I can do specific things at specific times and all that. If that makes any sense, I
Yeah,
kind of just
yeah,
want to
yeah.
handle
You
it.
could be more flexible,
Yeah.
right? I know your mom's been a huge advocate of you and what you can do, Right. Yeah. And I know
Yeah.
that, in the beginning when you were diagnosed, it was like, institution, or you never expect much from your child. And she didn't go that way. She kind of like, okay, I'm going to listen to this child and make this child as happy as possible. Um,
Yeah.
you know, is it that encouragement that has helped you find your path in life?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I think when you get support from anyone, especially like your parents, like having your back no matter what, your mom, your dad, your siblings, family, friends, teachers you care about, it's nice to know that people believe in you and they want you to keep doing better to show them that, hey, you guys are right about me. I can do these things. Yeah, it's just encouragement. It helps anybody, really.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. It does. Again, it's like that label, autism, don't expect much, or they're going to be a problem, or they're going to be this and that. And there are different levels of it. Looking
Yeah.
at Cody, obviously he needed more help on day-to-day functionals.
Yeah.
And then once you put him on a piano, off he went and, became this beautiful light. And
Yeah.
there are different levels of autism. Not everybody will find their independence as you have, or
Yeah.
their creativity. But it is, again, don't write people off
Yeah.
when
Give
you've stuck a label on them, right?
Yeah, because if we do that, then maybe that person could have been. It's just trying to find their level and what they can do and helping them open up to that and finding themselves so that they can not only help themselves, but be there for the world and help the world as well, and say vice versa, I guess,
Yes.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, completely. And the thing is about, is they may be limited because they're differently abled, but it is where they excel.
Yeah,
Let them be there. Don't try and make them go and do something else that
yeah,
is just not within their realm, right? Because
yeah,
that should be for everybody.
yeah,
The self-discovery is on who you are and what you can do, not what somebody else wants you to do, right?
yeah, yeah,
So your mom
exactly.
has encouraged you, but it's been you that's decided this path.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. With my mom's help, I tried to, I knew I always wanted to be an animator and write a book. And yeah, I've been determined and doing whatever I can to make those dreams come true.
And it just shows it can, right?
Yeah,
Young woman, autistic, and here you are with your second book, right?
yeah,
And it's like, how many people, oh, I don't know if I can, or I don't know if I should. And you're just going, I can, and I will, and I have.
yeah,
Good
yeah,
for you.
exactly.
Good for
Oh,
you.
thanks. Thank you.
Your animation, what kind of inspires you with your animation? What kind of animator are you for a start?
I do enjoy both 2D and 3D. I do kind of enjoy the 2D a bit more because I love to draw a lot. And I guess what inspired me is just watching some of my favorite movies and shows, like with Bambi, Nightmare for Christmas, Lion King, and just getting to watch behind the scenes on how they did it all in the process, the step by step. And I just loved it, and the community and how everybody worked together as a team, and I just loved that, and I love to draw, and I just wanted to always be a part of that someday.
Would you like to work on a movie with the
Oh,
various characters?
oh yes, for sure, yeah, and I'd also like to make the first book into an animated movie as well someday too, which would be super cool.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you do the animation as well. Right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's your baby, so why not? Right? Exactly. When you look at all these, I mean, anime movies are just massive nowadays, aren't they? And become very mainstream. And we look at them. There was Soul on this year that had its different characters.
Yeah.
I've loved many of the movies. I love the anime, but there was one a few years ago of Inside Out, which
Oh
was
yeah.
a great movie. And I introduced that movie to a lot of psychiatrists and psychologists, and they said, thank you. We're going to use this movie as part of our teaching, because it was a
Hmm.
wonderful way of showing how to deal with emotions and live from the inside out. There's
Hmm.
things that you can do in anime that you just can't get out of people in real life, isn't there?
Oh yeah, you can be way more expressive with characters. You can create unique worlds with them, and yeah, there's just a ton of stuff that you can do in anime. Like you can be wacky, you can be sad, and there's just so many different ways that you can express yourself when it comes to animation than you can with the real world, because we have limitations in
Yes.
a sense. But with animation, no, you can stretch someone's jaw as long as you want to get the thing,
Yes.
or bring down the bird to make them sad, or yeah, it's just there's no limitations to what you can do with
The
animations.
Nightmare Before Christmas, and
Yeah,
have you seen Box Trolls?
I did, yes, and
I
it's
love that
very
one.
good.
Yeah, I love that one. And not
Yeah,
spoken about too much. I wish it was more because I really, really enjoyed it. And
yeah,
and then you've got things like Avatar, etc., that are mixing animations. You've got some, super action movies where it's a mixture of it. And I think, we as human beings in our little linear box thinking, when we open up to what that technology can do and where it can take us, then it becomes something it broadens our whole spectrum of possibilities. Have you seen the movie Never Ending Story?
yes, yes, I have. Yeah, I
That
have.
was a wonderful movie, although maybe the animation wasn't, as obviously as good as it is today, but it's still, it's one of those movies that, shows you that we need to keep the story alive. We all need a story to
Yeah,
read, to immerse into those characters. It's part of our own character building, isn't it?
yeah, yes, it is. I might have to rewatch that movie again. It's been a while.
Yeah, no, it's an oldie, and I know when we first got the VCR, it was the first movie in it, and Delcor, and all of that. But a lot of anime is watched in our family because we do enjoy it, and of course, my kids are Simpson followers.
Oh
They
yeah.
love the Simpsons. So, and look at that. That's been around for an awful long time. But
Mhm.
there's a movie, Anita, or is that Alita out there? Um,
Oh
and
yeah, with the
she's
girl with
future.
the
Yeah,
robot.
yeah, she's
Okay.
the futuristic movie, and that you look at that, and it's just like awesome. Just kind of really awesome. So I think it helps us in our day-to-day lives just open up a great deal more in merging with those other worlds and being able to
Mhm.
see things more multidimensionally instead of
Yeah.
just, three-dimensional flat boringness. So um, you've written the second one, obviously it's out now, and the third one you're in the process of.
Yeah.
Um, you haven't yet come to that level of ending the story with the third dimension, with the third book, with the third trilogy. Uh, but you've already kind of written the ending. Was it hard to kind of bring the books just to a conclusion that way? You kind of, end it?
In a sense, yeah, because like as I mentioned before, I wasn't planning to make this into a trilogy at the beginning. I did have an idea for like if I did make more out of it, I had an idea for a second one. Third one, I had no idea where I was gonna go with that one, so that was kind of a free. I was like, okay, what's gonna happen with the second one? What are they gonna do? What's going on in their world? But after writing the second one, it kind of helped with like ideas that I could do and what's happening with the characters and they're going through. And yeah, so I eventually with that I found my beginning and ending and middle, and now I'm just trying to put it all together and how they get to those places. So
Have you got any other characters in your head waiting for another book for, in a different storyline?
yeah, I am actually also writing another book along the lines as well. I wonder if because I did technically mention it at the but well, I've already mentioned it at the pre-book publish if people went. It's basic. It's called the Rabbits of Jericho Beach. The Rabbits at Jericho Beach. So I don't know if you know about Jericho Beach, but there are rabbits that live there.
Ah, no, I didn't know that actually. Well, maybe
Yeah,
I did. Yes, I think I've seen them. Yeah.
yeah, and they're like domestic bunnies that have been there because people just put them there because they can't take care of them, and they think that's probably like the best way to for them when it's kind of the opposite. And so I'm making a fantasy world around that with the rabbits that live at Jericho Beach and how they live, how they survive, and interacting there. And yeah, finding a way to like make find better ways for like how not to put rabbits there
Yeah,
at the end.
exactly. My brother actually wrote a book where it was the Jericho Beach boy it was, and eventually he moved back to England, and the publicist had him set it in London. But it was about a boy that found a shoe on the beach with a foot still in it, and
Oh.
and it wasn't long after that that actually some feet came up onto the shores, not on Jericho but somewhere else. And it's like he's got a way of writing something that in some way materializes down the road. Have you found with any of your characters, even though they're fictional, that there's been kind of a parallel happening that's been going on?
I don't. If it has, I haven't noticed. So I'm pretty
Because I
sure.
think that's when you do, you kind of go like, okay, this was meant to be fiction, but that just happened. So, and it makes you go, oh, well, really, if it could really happen, how fictional is this, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I think it can. Now, my brother has a great discipline with his books, and he's been, for him, he grew up knowing he wanted to be an author. That was always his thing, um, and he gets these characters in his head, and he likes to write longhand before he gets up their discipline onto the computer. Do you go straight to the computer, or are you longhand first?
No, I'm like him as well. I go in journals and write. I mean, people can do that, but I don't know. Personally, that's the nice thing about writing is that everybody has their different ways. It's
Yes.
just doing what you do, what's best for you. And for me, writing in journals or paper the long way, I don't know. It just, for me, it helps me flow. It flows better for me, and I can keep writing and writing. Whereas I feel like when I'm on the computer, I'm just kind of stopping myself and typing, but then I'll stop and re-edit instead of just like flowing and keep going when I write. So, yeah, I like to do writing in journals and write the long way and then put it in the computer
Yeah,
afterwards.
I had an author on last week actually, who's a novelist, and he's saying that he's always done the longhand, but however, this last book he did it straight to the computer, and he said it was different. It was definitely different, um, but I think it's what works for you. I found actually, because I'm dyslexic, that going straight to the computer and writing it there is better for me.
Ah,
And it opened up my creativity more, because I used to get frustrated with my words being in the wrong place and it would put me off, where you can correct it on the computer. But there is no wrong way. It's
yeah,
just which is your way
yeah,
that
that
really
works.
allows you to follow your creativity, right? Which way it
Yeah,
comes out. Is there a
yeah,
certain
exactly.
place you like to go to write? His, of course, coffee bars, that he used to love to write in. Is there a certain place you like to go that inspires you?
Well, I was actually hoping before COVID happened to go to the beach and do some of my writing, but then the COVID happened, so I couldn't do that. When it comes to writing, I either do it mostly in my room where I'm surrounded by my stuff, or I'll take a little note with me and just when inspiration comes, I
Mhm.
write it down. So,
I just wish I had a chip in my head at night, because that's when my imagination comes. I write entire speeches, I write movies, I do everything, and then by morning I've forgotten it. And
yeah.
I wish there was something that could hear my thoughts and just download it for me. Because when is a good creative time for you? At night, in the day?
For me personally, I would definitely say I'm a night owl, so
Mm.
a lot of it comes at night. And yeah, sometimes how I do, I just like immediately wake up and write. And yeah, I'm trying to get a little better just for like sleeping wise for myself. I'm trying to
Yes.
get a little bit better with the daytime, but yeah, I'm definitely a night owl where that's where I'm finding myself most creative.
Yeah, again, if that's when the channeling opens up, that's where you've got to go with it. Some people are very early morning,
Hmm.
catching that early part of the day. I'm a night owl. That's when everything pours out of me too.
Yeah.
Um, and you just go with whatever your flow is, right? Whatever your system is. Um,
Hmm.
when you've written that book, and of course you're seeing it, come into hardcover, and there you are, what kind of feeling do you have? That sense of accomplishment, or you can't believe you've done it? When you suddenly hand it to you, here it is.
It's a definitely a wonderful feeling. It's just seeing your dream actually come into reality,
Yeah.
and it's just a joy and happiness and a not a good kind of pride, not like a ego kind of
Right.
pride, a good
Yeah.
kind
An
of happy
accomplishment
pride.
pride.
Yeah,
Yeah,
accomplishment pride,
right.
and just, working hard to see your dreams come true in that, and people, and then also having the people, like, because I've had certain people come back to me and say, hey, we really love your book and we can't wait for the second one. And it's just, and I've even inspired other people to like write their own books as well, which is always nice, because which is it's a nice feeling. It's nice to know that the things that I dreamed about is not only coming true, but now I can give it to other people as well, and hopefully they can pass it on and so forth.
That's what it's about. You remember, inspiration begets invitation. You're
Yeah.
inviting other people to believe they can. It's not that you've just written a book. Autism spectrum, you've written the book, you do the graphics, you believe there's going to be, a movie on this, and the thing is, you look at, how old are you now?
I'm 28.
So 28, she's already got 2 books under her belt, with a third one in the works,
Yeah.
and you haven't let any excuses, right? It's just like, I really want to do this, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and if there are obstacles, I'm gonna try to find a solution to get around it. If you can't go under, go over, and if you can't go under over, find a different route. Because that's the other thing. I think when things get hard, people just kind of stop themselves and give up instead of like, okay, I need to find what's the best solution for me to get out of this so I can still do what I love and get this issue or thing that's in the way out of the way. If that
Exactly.
makes sense.
Call Scotty, beam me up. Yeah. My brother once wrote a scene where his character fell in this pit, and it took him a week to write the guy out of the pit.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
have you had any stumbling spots where along the line where you've got a scene and you go, I just don't know how to get out of this?
Oh, the writer's block? Oh,
Mm,
yes, I've definitely had a ton of those. What I've personally done for me, people say walking helps, and yes, the walking has helped with me too. I've also sometimes I just kind of like if I'm struggling, it's like just let it go and maybe
yes.
go do something else and relax and just take my mind off a fair bit because you're right. I'm writing these stories for fun, and if it gets like too much and I'm trying, then it's like okay, I need a break. I need to go relax and remind myself why I'm doing this and why it's fun, and yeah, just so it's okay to step away sometimes if it's not there. So,
Yeah, yes, wait for it to come and tap you on the shoulder. People get so caught up with it. It doesn't matter whether you're writing a book or whatever you're
yeah,
doing. You have that dry spell where you just feel you can't be in it. And that's always, it's never a waste of time to take the time,
yeah,
because go and do something else. You will find it will inspire you
yeah,
in when you go back. But sometimes that's just the time of like, kind of shut the door on it, go and do something else, rejuvenate, and come
yeah.
back fresh. It's a good lesson for everybody.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
We all get some sort of block along the way in our lives, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Now, I know you do an awful lot of, book signing and everything else. Have you, now with COVID, it's a little harder to do, but, is that coming back? Will you be able to do some book signing?
I'm not sure yet. We might have another. Well, unless something happens in the fall, we might be able to. But if it still keeps going, we might not be able to. What we're actually trying to do, since we can't do like outside book events, we're trying to do kind of like book live streaming events
Mm,
with like YouTube and Facebook. We're actually planning one this month for May, either on the 22nd or 29th. We're just trying to figure out the date for that. We've got some things ready to go. We just need some other stuff to work on. And then, yeah, just trying to figure out if we want to do it on the 22nd or 29th.
well, that's again, that comes back to that innovation, doesn't it? You
Yeah.
can't do this because of those circumstances. So what can you do? And
Yeah.
that's that pivoting. And that's just, same with everything in life. Stop worrying about what you can't do. Look at what you can do. Right.
Yeah.
And change directions. And very often you may find it's either better or it reaches a different audience. Because obviously, when you're signing books, it's local people. When you're
Yeah.
doing this type of thing, it's open to anybody anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So, a good lesson for everyone. Don't get stuck on what you can't do,
Yeah.
because there's always something you can do,
Yeah,
right?
especially now in this modern world where with the internet and that it opens us to many ways that we can like get out there, unlike before in the past where it's like there were certain limitations that we couldn't do, but now with like the internet, and just we have so many ways we can get out there and express ourselves, and we can take advantage of that for ourselves.
In the autistic community, you do a lot of work in that kind of community. You know, obviously they must be very proud of you with the books that you've written, but you know, how has it inspired your community to believe that they can do things and not to hold themselves back?
Well, because I guess with me showing myself following my dreams and that, I've actually had people who are also on the autistic spectrum also making their own stories right now as well. And yeah, this one boy, Adam, he's almost finished his one book, and he is hoping to publish it either this year or next year.
Right, right.
Yeah,
So, I mean, that it is inspiration begets invitation because it invites people to believe they can, right?
yeah,
And that showing it doesn't matter if I'm differently able, I'm
yeah,
still able to do something. And if I have difficulty in certain areas, it's okay to ask. It's
yeah,
okay to get the help because we're not meant to do it all. It doesn't matter who we are, we're not meant to do it all. And
yeah,
you do as much as you can, and where there's somebody else's strength is that, then you ask them for help.
yeah,
It's a good
exactly.
lesson to learn for everybody. We don't ask for help, do we? We
No.
don't always accept it. So you feel that this is the path that you're on now, the writing and obviously looking at the animation and the scripts and making it into a movie. Is this your life platform for your unforeseeable future?
Yes, this is the future that I'm seeing and I'm going for right now. And hopefully, with those, it'll lead me up to many more paths.
Right. Yes, you don't know where it's going to go, do you?
Yeah.
Um, is there a lot of animation done here in British Columbia?
Oh, yeah, there are a few animation studios. I have sent myself to a few of them. I came pretty close to one, but this other person had a bit more experience than me. So, but they're fingers crossed that they'll still stay in contact, and I just basically have to update my resume, get some things done, and then yeah, maybe for hopefully for the best. I'll get.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
sending in your script with the anime in it, just showing that you're more than just, you know, an animator, that you're a storyteller, and that, you know, you're thinking further down the road. Because, you know, I've just did a show with a rapper, DC, who did, you know, I don't know if you've seen the Geico commercial, Whoomp. Da, 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 the big song from the 90s that has come back, and you know, talking about how he had the one hit wonder, but what it did is open the doors to other things in life. And if he
Yeah.
didn't know, he went and learned. And that's the point, isn't it? Is like, I don't know how to do this, so I learn how to do this. Or if it's completely out of my realm, then I hire someone to do it. Right. But don't let things hold you back. And
Mm-hmm.
also, I think, you know, we have many chapters in our book of life, and each chapter is going to produce something else. And some chapters may not be as happy as other chapters, but the more skills we have and the more flexible we are, the stronger and more courageous we're going to be in actually getting through any of those obstacles.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
You can always step into one of your characters, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Just get a book and go into that world.
Yes, exactly. I do that. You know,
Yeah.
if I'm finding Sarah can't cope with something, you know, what character do I like from a certain book that I think would handle it, and just step into that persona for a while.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Definitely.
Gives you a different form of courage. Um,
Yeah.
we see an awful lot of people just not reading books anymore, but I think we're always hungry for something that can take us outside of ourselves and put us in a different world and invite us to see things from a different side. And I really do encourage people to pick up that book, you know, and read and go down that different world. When she first wrote Harry Potter, I do not think she, you know, thought it was going to be, I mean, she knew it was going to be 7 books, but I don't think she ever thought it was going to be a movie and Disney thing and everything else, because you know it's massive, and it doesn't matter what the generations of the next generation is introduced to, and the next generation. And that's what's so beautiful about books like yourself. It doesn't matter who's read it, there's always the next generation that can enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
And it can just
Yeah.
keep on living for as long as people are willing to dive into that world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I hope that happens with the books as well.
Yep.
That that with them they'll pass on to their kids, and there'll be something that'll connect them and bring them joy together, and then they can do that the next generation. Yeah, and just keep this story alive forever.
Yeah.
That'd be
I always encourage the book club type thing where you talk about a book. I saw it this way, or it did something to me this way, and have somebody else share how it affected them. And it opens up the world even more. Oh, I didn't you thought the character, oh, that's an interesting point of view. and
yeah,
and then you're just kind of immersing yourself even more into the characters and where they can go. And as I said, when I read my brothers, which is like that, I'm always in that world. And when the book comes to an end, the first thing I say to a sequel right now. I want to know what happens next. And that's what you want, right? You want people to go, what's next? What's next, right?
yeah.
Did you like The Golden Compass, Northern Heights, Philip Pullman's books?
Yeah, they were good. I haven't read their one, but I do know about the Golden Compass ones. Yeah.
Right. I highly recommend those three books. They've got a great series of Dark Materials now, which is they've really good rendition of it. It's really wonderful, but there's so many layers to it. And again, it doesn't matter what age you are, you're going to receive it from whatever your point of view, and it really does. I love books that make you stop and think. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's the youth genre or whether it's adult, you food for thought. And yeah, but what if, I wouldn't mind being in that world. Oh, I'd love to be able to do that. And that's always, I think, of a mark of a good book when it has you questioning afterwards, because it keeps it alive, and a book that you always go back to in certain characters, which are wonderful. And you always get a favorite character in a book, right? There's always
Yeah.
one character that stands out that's even more. So you've got this whole kind of Zoom book signing type thing going on, which is going to come up. And I assume that you're probably going to do more of them as well as time goes by. So if people want to find out where that is so that they can join, do you have a site where all your information goes up on?
Oh yeah, there's I can write them in the chat box too if you want as
I know, well,
well.
I've got here too. So
Oh,
I've got Jenny's story. Oh, I've got, is it Jenny story?
yeah, so the official web page for it is Wix sites, jennystory.com slash dysnomia. And then for other platforms, I have a Dysnomia Facebook page called
It's jennystory.wixsite.com-dysnomia.
Oh, sorry, I got it. My mom was just letting me know I got it wrong. It's jennystory.wixsites.com and then slash dysnomia.
And spell dysomnia so people know how to spell it properly.
It's Dysnomia.
And I know that you can get the current book at Indigo, but you can also get both books from Amazon.
Yep, you can get Indigo, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, RedTube, yeah, many places. And we're also got it on ebooks as well. We're slowly trying to get it on the ebooks as well. So
You're going to go the audiobook way?
Sorry?
Are you going to go the audiobook way?
We're trying to do that. Yeah, we're trying to do that for both books.
Oh, it's on now.
What?
He just told me it's on now for the ebook.
Oh,
I just got it through.
Sorry, my mom keeps coming in and she told me I guess the second book is on the ebooks now.
Wonderful, great.
Yeah,
Right.
we just did it today apparently.
There you
So
go.
news
Right.
to
So
me. Woohoo!
I'll for your ebook, and I'll highly recommend the audio because audio is huge, and especially in this kind of book, it's a lot of kids could really enjoy that. And disappear into that world with the audiobook, which is great. And I really do hope that it is actually made into a movie, into a trilogy. Again, I'm the one that geeks out at them. I love them. I love the different dimensions they take in there. But as I said, they end up with a life of their own and a different kind of following, and because people always want to find that hero that kind of reflects their possibility. What the hero faces, what they have to go through. It's an invitation for them to find their own strength and their own courage and their own abilities. So we always live vicariously through these things. And when we have somebody that we really love, you know, they become our hero and ignite the hero within us. So I hope it is made into a movie,
Thank you.
because I think that will do very well. You know, we could see animation movies do exceptionally well, and we love the adventures, and we love different worlds and different creatures. It's so exciting. So I do hope that you do extremely well on that, and that it opens up those doors.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
so the third book, when do you think that's going to come out?
Well, let's see. I'm hoping maybe around the same, because technically for the second book, it was ready for 2020, but then the COVID, so we
Yes.
decided to wait a little while. And so I'm hoping around maybe 2 to 3 years, definitely before the 2025. So,
Right. Great. So a lot of dedication in there, and you know, just keep pursuing. You know, an anime club set would do extremely well to have you, because you really do think out of the box. There is no kind of linear mainstream with you. You're a gift in that way completely. And, you know, thank you for being such an example to and an education to people that autism does not mean you're not capable. It just means that you are channeling your knowledge and the way you do things in a different way. And so you can invite them into your world, which you've done with your
yeah.
books. You've invited them into your world, and they can come in and learn something themselves. So kudos to you for the books that you've written, love.
Oh,
And
thank
keep
you.
on going, right? And when that
Yeah.
third book comes out, come back and share that with us. And keep fingers crossed for everything else, because I think this is the way you need to go, and the way you should go, and the way people should open doors for you.
Yeah, thank you much. And thank you for having this interview me so that we can talk about these things and keep it growing.
Yeah, well, if we don't learn. And so
Yeah.
it is about talking about it, and it is about learning. So I'm going to give people the site again, www.jennyjennystory.wixsite.com/Dysnomia, Dysnomia. On Facebook, it's Jenny Story, Dysnomia Trilogy page. Twitter, Jenny Jenny Story, Instagram, Jenny Story 219. And you're also on Goodreads, Jenny Story as well. So, and you know, it just read the book, pass it on, get the conversation going by it. But good for you, hon. Good for you. All right.
You.
So thank you so much for sharing with us here today. And folks, go and get the first book, catch up. The second book is already here. I know you're going to be wanting to pick it up the moment you finish the first book, and you're going to be begging her to get on with that third book very quickly. So reach out and into that wonderful world of imagination. So until next time, folks, remember, there's no excuse. We can always do something if we've got enough passion and conviction within us. Until next time, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. You will hear many, many shows here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. We have new shows for you out every week. Just find them on our podcast or What's New. If you feel that you have something to share that makes a difference in the lives of others, or you too feel that you could be a host, please contact me at info@selfdiscoverymedia.com, and we will be glad to speak with you. Have a wonderful day.